Good morning. I'm live. You may or may not be. It's still cleanup time. We've got a few days of this coming up. Yeah. Sorry, I was really enjoying that first sip this morning. So, how are you this morning? How are you? Different view. Different view. I was just in a kind of a different mood. It was a pensive morning. I'm not going to lie. I've been thinking about the way death or losing somebody changes everything. It has to, right? Because there was something that was there taking up space, and now that space is available. What are you going to fill it with? I was thinking specifically of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Little teeny person took a big space in our lives. Isn't that amazing? How one person could make such a huge difference on the planet. Yeah, we'd all like to make a huge difference on the planet. I mean, I know I would. But the kind of dedication that it took for her to be the person she was, it's pretty huge. So now I guess the question is, what do we fill her space with? She left us a legacy more valuable than money could ever be. But the question now is, what do we fill that space with? What do we do with that legacy? Rather than my first reaction, which was just to cry and say, oh no, now we're really in trouble. No, we're not really in trouble. She showed us what to do. Now the question is, do we do it? And regardless of what your beliefs are, it's time to stand up and be counted, don't you think? And don't say you're too busy. Don't say that. The song that came to mind this morning was Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle. If you haven't heard it in a while, it's time to listen to it again. Because you're going to grow up just like Dad. The dad you don't want to really grow up with. The one you loved but didn't make time, maybe. I'm not meaning your dad. You know that, right? So what do you make time for? Let's talk about that. What do you make time for? Well, I guess you make time for what's really important to you. Or at least that's the way it should be. So take a look at what you're making the time for and just check in. Is that really the most important thing in your life? I knew somebody once who said, there's always time for a hug. And dang it, it was like the most inopportune moments when that little phrase would come up. Like when you're really busy or really angry or agitated and someone would say something absurd like there's always time for a hug or stop and smell the roses. Please. Please. Because there really is always time for a hug. And there really is always time to stop and smell the roses. And sometimes just those crazy little things aren't so little, and they're really important. And it's those times when you're the most upset and the most agitated and the most stressed that you really need to do those things. I did a word art a while back that said, be the person that you were looking for when you needed to be loved. So I guess what I'm saying to you now is, be the person who you need to be with when you're feeling stressed or anxious or unhappy. And that person would be putting it out there, right? That person would stop and say, oh, come here, you need a hug. Try it. Okay, not with a stranger, not even with someone who isn't in your pod. But there are ways to give virtual hugs. And there are ways to give hugs with your voice, with the things that you say and the words that you use. But the human connection, just showing you care, it's cleanup time, folks. We can no longer afford to live the kind of life where we don't worry about how we're being, where we don't think about our actions or inaction and how it affects the rest of the world. It's time to set some new priorities, maybe. Or to take the priorities that you say you have and actually live them. Good morning, Marlene. I sound like you're at church this morning or synagogue, and I'm the preacher, the rabbi, the shaman. I don't know. Sorry if you're offended, but you know what? This is my thing this morning. That's it. Cat's in the cradle and silver spoon. Don't be that person that is not the person you want to be. Or somebody posted the other day, I think it was Tracy, something about, you know who you want to be. So just don't be any of those other things. Yeah, I paraphrased it, but you get the idea. Leave out the stuff that doesn't work for you. Just don't do it. Good morning, Pam. Nice to have you here. I'll drink to that. So what else is there always time for? There's always time for a kind word. There's always time to consider before you react. No. Before you take action. Sometimes you can't help a reaction, right? You know, it's just like, boom, that happens. But you can stop for a minute and think it through and then decide to do something else. You have choice. Exercise your choice. Keep it clean today. Keep it nice today. Oh, the word for today works really well with what we're talking about. It's Japanese and it's shoganai. Shoganai. And it actually means don't worry about something that you can't do anything about. That's really what it means. The idea behind that being, if you really can't do anything about it, worrying about it is not going to fix things. It's only going to keep you from feeling good about the rest of the things. Stopping bad stuff is not going to happen if it's something you don't have any control over. But worrying about stopping the bad things is going to keep you from enjoying the good things. So sometimes you just got to let it slide and look for the stuff to be happy about. Oh, I see some of you are agreeing with me. Right on. All right, in the coincidence department, today, in case you were wondering what to have for dinner today is National Pepperoni Pizza Day. Makes dinner easy, right? Or lunch? It's Pepperoni Pizza Day. Oddly, it's also National Queso Day. Do you know what queso is? I live in California, so we all, know a little Spanish. Queso is cheese. So it's Pepperoni and Cheese Day. I can't think of anything better than a pizza for that, right? Okay, so your dinner is taken care of. You're welcome. Go get yourself some pepperoni and cheese pizza. It is also Wife Appreciation Day. This Flower Wives is for you. And by the way, in my book, you don't have to be female to be a wife. There are a lot of male wives out there, and I salute you too. Because in my vernacular, wife is a whole lot more than just a female body. A wife has a lot to do with what you do and who you are and how you react and what you take care of. And all those things are worth celebrating. So, if you're a wife, whatever your gender choice is, I salute you today. Here's to the wives. We appreciate you. Oh, I have a little known fact for you too. On your keyboard, where the hashtag is, it has a name. It's an octotrope. You can go tell everyone that today and be like so brilliant. Oh, well, I'll see you later. Hashtag octotrope. Not right now. Okay, I don't care how you use it, but it's called an octotrope. I knew that would like brighten your day immeasurably. Speaking of brighten your day, so I did 23andMe. Well, my kids gave it to me for Mother's Day a few years ago. It was kind of cool. And you get updates now and then saying, hey, you shared DNA with this person or that person. And you wonder, do I have relatives out there that I don't really know about? So a few days ago, I got a message from a woman who said, hey, I did 23andMe too, and I think we're cousins. It says we have enough DNA to be second cousins. Can we please figure out how we're related? I looked at her stuff and other than she had some relatives from Chicago, I didn't get it. And then she wrote me back and she said, my grandmother's maiden name, I don't know what it was. It gets so confusing. And those of you who do genealogy, you know how confusing this gets. But bottom line was she said, my mother's mother's mother, or my mother's mother, was named Schneider. Does that ring any bells? Do you have any connections? 4 gazillion years ago, I was Sandy Schneider. That was my maiden name. So I thought, maybe this person really is related to me. Let's play the game. So we've talked on the phone and I've talked to other cousins and oh my gosh, it is so exciting and so much fun. Now, I don't know if I told you when I was talking about famous people that I know, this is someone I've never met, but it's a relative. Apparently, there is a book called Who's Who in American Gangsters. And I have a relative in that book. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Apparently, Benny Schneider, Uncle Benny, was some kind of gangster. I'm not sure. What I heard yesterday was he had something to do with union busting. I heard something about bootlegging. I don't know. But it's so cool to have a gangster relative. So Uncle Benny is in Who's Who in American Gangsters. In Chicago, in like 1927, Uncle Benny was walking down the street and a big black touring car came up and the window came partway down and a machine gun came out the window and Uncle Benny was laying dead on the ground. I actually saw the newspaper article from the Chicago Tribune, Times, Sun Times, whatever it was. I actually saw the actual article from 1927 or whatever it was of when Uncle Benny got shot down. And what was really cool is so far we think that this person who says, I think I'm your cousin, hi Rhonda, if you're watching, we think that my Uncle Benny, who would have been my great Uncle Benny, was actually her grandfather or great grandfather. We're not really sure, but how cool is that? Not just to share a relative, but to share an Uncle Benny. Anyway, we're working on it. How fun to discover you're connected to someone that you never heard of until just like a minute ago. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Anyway, if you want to find some relatives, it tells you how much DNA you have in common, and that's where you start. And it says to you, you have 1.25 blah, blah, blah in common, so you might be third cousins 4 times removed. I'm not a genealogy expert. I don't claim to be one, and I never played one on TV, but I got to tell you, finding relatives you didn't know you have, the connection thing, it's awesome. It is. It is. One more plug for cleanup time. So, by the way, I really want to thank those of you who have subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's all I can say is thank you. And if you would invite your friends, that would mean so much. My goal is to hit 1,000. I'm not even sure where we are right now, but I think we're probably close to 100 by now. So that means I've got a long way to go, but I've come a long way. I want to make this channel awesome, and I want to fill it with things that are of interest to you. This week, we're going to be talking about self-sabotage. Self-sabotage, whew, what a great topic. Something that we all do every day. That's part of that is that little voice in your head, that one that's saying there is no voice in my head, that voice, yeah, that one. That's the one who's perfect and who reminds you all day long of what's wrong with you. I can't believe you did that wrong. You're so stupid. You did that again. Oh, are you going to do that? You didn't do. Oh, but you know the voice, okay? That's part of self-sabotage. All right, now I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. You cannot get rid of that voice. You cannot. It's there. You can't get rid of it. But I'm going to help you quiet it down. Maybe even change what it says now and then. Yeah. Okay. So that's coming up this week. I don't even know if it's going to be just one conversation. I have a feeling it's going to be more than one. And if we get a good response to it, we being me, if I get a good response to this thing on self-sabotage, I'm going to invite my significant other to come and join in that conversation with us. Yeah, he doesn't know that yet, but my significant other is a psychologist, and I would love to have his input on it for you as well. So if you have questions about self-sabotage, you can private message me. Let's make this happen. I started What Do I Say, What Do I Do? Because people have issues, and they have issues that they have no one to talk to about. I want you to have a place where you can actually have a forum to talk about sex, to talk about self-sabotage, to talk about saying goodbye and knowing when it's time to like leave a relationship, when it's time to pick up and move. We all have questions, we all have issues. And I would like this to be a place where we can talk about them. Not necessarily over morning coffee, but just in little 20-minute vignettes. And yeah, so I want to know the topics. Where are we here? Oh, good. I've already got, oh yeah. I've already got some people. And elder parents, you know that's a topic that matters to me. Dealing with elderly parents, dealing with people who don't hear well, dealing with people who have all their faculties but can't really take care of themselves very well anymore, dealing with adult children who act like children. Okay, the list is endless. It is absolutely endless. That's what I want to give you. That's who I want to be for you. I want to open the conversations that you have in your head, but that need to be out there. Because I can promise you, if that conversation's in your head, chances are it's in someone else's head too. Maybe I'll even just give you a list of suggested topics and you can vote on which ones you want to have covered first or second or, okay, here we go. How to be grateful, even when it looks like there's nothing to be grateful for. These are too long. I want to give you a short one. Page 26. And for those moments when you're feeling beat up by the circumstances of life, wiggle your toes to get present. And practice Sandye's handy happiness hacks. These are my handy happiness hacks. Smile. Be grateful. Reframe. Give it away. We can talk one day about what that is. Give it away. Why? Because you, my friends, are worth the effort. Cleanup time. Send me a private message. Tell me what topics you'd like me to cover. I'm there every day. Love you. Happy Sunday.